much. I even love handmade crafts made of macaroni. Come on now, you should know me. Times I might eat too much. No worry about my weight, got the dad bod rocking on me. Sketches on my feet, cargo shorts look good on me. I'm a dad, that's what I do.
Welcome back to another edition of Home Dad Chat. I am one of two home dads, a part of this podcast. My name is Brock, and my friend who is with me tonight,
Danny Mercer.
All right, Danny. Thanks for being a part of this, man. It's been great getting to talk to you. And tonight's topic is one I think that is very near and dear to both of our hearts. It's the National At-Home Dad Network's annual HomeDadCon. And we just kind of wanted to take this time to talk to all of you guys out there, all you dads out there who maybe don't know what this is, or you've maybe seen a marketing publication about it and you're just like, I don't understand. Like, why does this need to be here? And so,
yeah, what are you guys doing?
Why do you need a convention? And,
right.
And so, I just want to talk about it because honestly, like, it's more than what you think and some of what you maybe didn't think would be there. So we'll start off with this. 25 years ago, HomeDadCon I don't even think it was called HomeDadCon at the time, honestly, but it was literally just a group of stay-at-home dads who decided to take a couple of days to get together, and it was really low key, from what I understand. And there's more origin story to it than I even know, because I'm new to this and I'm actually been digging into the history of it because I love actually finding history, things about like organizations. So I'm actually on the hunt to actually talk to one of the founders of the organization that was a part of one of the first HomeDadCons. So hopefully we'll get that situated where we can have him on at some point. But it really was just a chance to get stay-at-home dads together, from what I understand, and just build into them and build up the community, but also work on like just the professional side of dads and learning some new things. And it's really grown. It's grown into an entire weekend where you get speakers coming in and teaching you different things, and breakout sessions where you get even more information, and then just like camaraderie in itself. And it's been in many, many states, many, many cities over those years. And we'll talk about where it's going to be at for 2021 here later. But Danny, you've been going to them longer than me. I've only gone to 3 of them so far. I've been to Orlando, Minneapolis, and the recent DadCon at home virtual, which was a one-day event. How many have you been to? Can you remember?
This is my 7th, I think, 6th or 7th. Raleigh won. And at that time we were doing the same city 2 years in a row. So it was Raleigh, Portland, Orlando, Minneapolis, virtual. 6, I think, unless I missed one in there. And I really hope I didn't, but I don't think I did. But they really, the place doesn't matter. It doesn't really make a big difference about where we were in a lot of cases. I mean, they were all amazing. It's such a big event for my year that it's just, I don't know, it's kind of like Christmas. And, where did you spend Christmas 2 years ago? It didn't matter. I had a great time. I did this and that, and I was with my family or whatever else I had. So, I think it's been 6.
Okay. So yeah, you're right. Probably 6 then.
Oh, that's what it was. That's why I was thinking 7, because I remember I heard about Denver, but it was like just passed. And like you said earlier, when you said, what is this? Why do you have a convention? What for? What are you doing? And it was exactly what I thought I'm like, well, I didn't miss anything. Oh, I was so wrong.
Yeah, no, definitely. And that's the thing, like HomeDadCon, you tell people there's a stay-at-home dads convention, an eyebrow lifts, or maybe both of them lift at the same time. Like, what? Especially if you tell a mom that. Like, I've definitely I've had that conversation at the playground. Yeah, like they have a stay-at-home dad convention. What? Yeah. There's nothing for moms like that.
Yeah, I've heard that. Yeah, that's a big one. And I've heard that probably more than anything. I do get a lot that people are like, oh, so what, a bunch of dads sitting around drinking beer and sitting on the couch? And very, very snarky kind of things about it. And it's just so different. What you said a moment ago is the professional side of it. That's really what, not in my first convention, because I don't know for anyone else, my first convention, I was overwhelmed. I just did not realize there was so much there. And I really didn't know how much I didn't know about all of these things that were going on around us. But after that, you get into a development of yourself, just like you would with any profession, with any job you have, where you have the ability to go to a convention and talk to the experts in your field.
Yeah.
And while experts in the field of dadding. What's that? No, sincerely, that is a thing where you have an amount of professionalism that, especially with the virtual, and I'm sure we'll talk about that in a minute, that just really showed itself in people that are, okay, I'm a homemaker. That's what I do.
Yeah.
And yet I'm a professional about it. I own it. This is what I do. This is my job. And I take it just as seriously if I were doing anything else.
Well, and that's the thing too, that and stay-at-home dads come from all walks of life. They've got different backgrounds. And then on top of it, they've got different family situations, like I think that, a stay-at-home dad who has a kid that has a special need or on the spectrum or, any physical disability, whatever it is, like they might not run into another dad that is dealing with those same things. And when they come to HomeDadCon and they meet another dad that maybe doesn't live near them, but they can connect with and then stay in contact with online. And I've heard that so many times where it's like, oh man, it's so great to finally like meet another dad who has kids that are like mine. And maybe they've been through some things and it's like, this is what I've experienced, like, or these are the emotions I'm going through right now. And for someone to just basically like put an arm around them and be like, hey, been there, done that. Like, and you can get through it. And, and then there's this bond and it's like,
yeah,
I'm more than happy to be your friend and to, just walk alongside you in this. And so it's cool to see how that takes place. Also too, there's some really interesting moments that take place. I remember hearing about this. I didn't get to experience it, but I believe it was, I don't know if it was Raleigh 1 or Raleigh 2. You were there for it, but one of the dads felt comfortable enough to announce that he came, even though there was the bathroom bill at that time, and felt very much like he needed to be there, and then came out, and I'm not going to give his name or anything like that. I'm not I don't want to go there for that purpose, but because it's his story. But basically, like,
his story.
He came out and just was like, I'm trans and I feel super like supported and comfortable, like being here with all of you other dads who, we're all in this together kind of thing. And like, I heard that story and I was just like, man, what a cool group of guys. What a cool group of dads, like just to get together and do something like that. So
yeah, definitely.
It was really neat to hear that.
It was more amazing. I mean, sitting there, because you don't know what anybody's going to say. I mean, so we weren't expecting anything. We weren't asking questions around any specific things. But to have that come out it was just monumental. And like you said, even hearing the story is a big thing, but having people realize that camaraderie is there, that community is there, that what we call, the brotherhood of fatherhood. And it really is a brotherhood. It's a bond that you have, not just at home dads, of course. All fathers have that because you're a father now, and it changes who you are. It really, to me, I think you go through a major change with that. But to be able to sit in a room of, there had to be 150, well, I don't know, 150 men in that room at that point, and for this person to basically did not stand up, but to be there and say this in front of everybody there. Think about the level of comfort and the level of trust that they had. And that's what the convention, one of the many things that the convention builds, is that understanding of trust in the other dads. And again, they may not be, right where you're at. But I think like for, like you mentioned, kids on the spectrum and parents dealing with that, to find someone to be able to talk to find a peer, that's going to say, and maybe don't know what you're doing, maybe don't know what you're going through, but maybe can either help you through it or hopefully has gone through it and said, yeah, okay, this is where we're going. This is why I understand, and having that trust in the people around you. And it's almost instant. I don't know about for anybody else, but like at HomeDadCon, I'm just like, oh yeah, I know you, we're brothers. We just are. I don't care. What do you want? You need $20. Here's $20. I don't, whatever you need. Cause it's an immediate brotherhood.
Yeah. And it's interesting too, like how it transfers from online conversations to in person, because in recent years, when you go to HomeDadCon, you get put into an attendees group and you start to get to talking to these guys and setting up little trips or setting up little hangouts and stuff like that, and just all these little conversations going on. And it's really cool just to see, like, when you finally meet in person, it's like, hey, it's like a big class reunion almost, but you're more excited to see them than you would maybe your like old classmates.
Yep.
I mean, so you've got that part to it, which is really cool. And, you know, you get people coming in at all different like times. Typically it starts on Thursday night, goes through to Saturday afternoon. I feel like there's guys that are starting to show up on like Tuesday and Wednesday night just to get like a few extra days of breath.
Yeah, I'm so jealous.
Yeah, I know. There's a few of us that are definitely way more, I don't know what the word is I'm looking for, but it basically, we are, I don't want to say blessed, but there's just an opportunity for some of us to be able to get away sooner than others.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, you know, you've gone to a few of them. I feel like I just jumped right off into the deep end immediately because
You did.
like I pretty much did. I mean,
I'm glad you did. I really am. I think it's been great. But yeah,
it's crazy because like I look back on it now and it's like, all right, like I became a stay-at-home dad, and then I actually heard about HomeDadCon Portland, and I knew I couldn't go because I was going to be on a camping trip for something that I've done for a decade with college students. And so when I was on the trip, I was actually listening to Sad Pod, and they were actually live.
Oh yeah.
At Portland. So I was listening in on what was going on, and I was sitting in a hammock in the woods because I had enough signal, because actually we had a Wi-Fi signal at the campground we were at. And I was like, man, this is so cool. But then I went to Orlando. But before I went to Orlando, I ended up getting called up by the nomination committee for the board. And they're like, hey, do you want to run for the board? I'm like, I've obviously put myself in the spotlight here with that.
And you said yes, and that's all that matters.
I said yes, and I was very excited about it, but there were others who were not so excited about it. And I had a lot of proving to do and a lot of big shoes to fill. And it was very interesting. But at the same time, so you talk about that brotherhood of fatherhood, specific event that took place at that first HomeDadCon was when I got elected. There were a few guys who were like, who is this guy? Mm-hmm. Like, I've been coming here for a while. Who's this guy? And he's now been elected to the board. Like, what the heck, you know? And I heard through the grapevine that when that came up, there were guys at those tables that were like, hey, like, if you don't know who he is, then you've been sleeping under a rock. Because he's been doing this, and this, and he's been super active in these areas. And we're all like really excited that he's decided to do this. And I had one guy come up to me and say, hey, just so you know, like, we have your back if anybody gives you any crap. And I was like, what? Like, what did I get into, man? But, you know, I mean, that comes with any.
Family now will take care of you.
Right, exactly. And that was, but to me, I was like, wow, okay, like, this brotherhood is strong. Like, this is really cool. And from there, I mean, it's allowed me to do some really cool things for the organization. So that's sort of a little bit of my step into HomeDadCon. But the thing with it is too.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just say,
yeah,
no one's ever asked me to be on the committee. Just saying. No one's asked me to be on the board, so you got it.
It's all good, man. You got a house load of kids there, man.
Cool.
So.
Cool. Yeah. Oh no. Yeah. It's definitely not. I think if anybody had asked, I would have just looked at them and cried. Like, no, I can't. They're everywhere. My children. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're fine. We were talking about the professional side of it. So there's a fun side and the professional side. So Thursday night's a kickoff, which has been great. I will say, and we're gonna plug this one a little bit, but John Francis, founder of Father's Eve, great guy from out of Minneapolis. He's really signed on wholeheartedly to the organization and being a part of it and just helping host the convention eve on that Thursday night. And so it really kind of makes a great kickoff for the organization. So it's been really cool having him the past few years to be a part of that. So we can't thank him enough, honestly, for everything that he does.
Yeah, I agree. It's amazing every year, and beyond that too, especially with everything he does with Father's Eve. And maybe you should, I don't know if you want to plug a little bit more and tell everybody what that's about.
Yeah. So Father's Eve is an event that happens the night before Father's Day. Typically it takes place just maybe in your backyard, maybe in your garage, maybe at just a local pub or whatever. It's just a group of dads that get together in your area, and at 8:00 your time, you toast to fatherhood and just celebrate, just everything fatherhood is, and just enjoy that time together. Maybe it's the only time some dads get out for a dad's night out with other dads, but it's been great. There's definitely been some cool times with like some different sponsors and different things like that. And I highly suggest anybody who's hearing this for the first time, just check out fatherseve.com. You'll see if there's one going on in your area. It shows you ways to host, all that kind of stuff. I've been hosting one for 2 years, 3 years now, something like that. And I get like 20 guys that come, and we just hang out in my backyard, and
Oh, that's cool.
everybody brings their own meat, throws it on the grill. Everybody brings beer to share, and we just sit around and chat, talk about fatherhood, talk about whatever. This past year, with it being, with everything that's going on, I still had probably like 10 guys. I just invited like 10 guys that I know really close. And I was like, all right, we'll just be really safe about this. Like, we won't share beer. We'll have our own. Like, it'll be fine. Still throw meat on the grill, whatever. Not a big deal. And we just sat around, social distance around my fire ring in the back, and it was a blast. We had a good time. It was a lot of fun. But some guys didn't get to do that. They did it virtually, and it was still good. So yeah, it's Father's Eve is great. Definitely check that out. fatherseve.com. Do that on Thursday night. Friday morning starts programming. We usually have like a opening keynote speaker. In Minneapolis, we were graced with the presence of Dr. Anna Machen. Man,
Wow. Yeah.
What an amazing woman and advocate for fatherhood.
and really, I think if I could point to nothing else other than what she brought to the stage, in her presentation about fatherhood, she's what kind of anthropologist? Ooh, I forgot what kind of anthropologist she is, but that she's been doing evolutionary. Is it evolutionary anthropologist?
Sounds about
no
right.
matter. Whatever she is, she's really smart, and she's done so much work uncovering how fathers act and react in different situations. And basically, the stress of your family, what your family going through changes who you are as a father. And I really think that's an amazing thing, because of the points that she brought out about everything was all statistically based. It was all studied and documented, and facts and figures. And it wasn't just some person standing on the stage and you go, hey, y'all be better to your kids, or anything like that.
Right.
This is a scientist. This is a doctor that has come in and has written books and published reports about fatherhood. And even if it was a little over my head at some points, the reality of it was that we were getting the meat of the matter about fatherhood. And that is what I try to tell people about when they ask me about the convention. We talk about the professional side. This is why fathers are important.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't just, hey, it's good that you're being, at home and you can support your family, and that's great. It's statistical studies that and surveys and other things that they've done that prove out how valuable and involved father is. Not only an at-home dad, which is a great benefit, and if we're fortunate to be able to do it, that's wonderful. But to have fathers that are there and involved with the nurturing of their children. She blew my mind. I mean, she blew my mind.
It was so challenging in different ways too. It was like, wow, like this is really cool to hear. And there were different parts you're like, okay, I never really thought of it that way. So yeah, it was great. And I think that's the thing. Like, so we bring in, like, HomeDadCon brings in some great, great speakers. We've had all kinds of different subject matter involved for the virtual convention that happened back in October. Yeah, October this year. Man, I mean, to have Dante Palmer from Squat for Change come in and talk about what he's doing,
and making us all cry, man.
Making us all cry. No kidding, right? There was not a dry eye in the room. I mean, that dude, like, I thought at first he was coming in to just talk about like the movement and everything, and then he completely flips the script on us and goes deep about like his, just mental state of things, and just the importance of men's mental health, and just so many different aspects of what we all can associate with and relate to. And so, yeah, I have to say for HomeDadCon, like the speakers that get brought in, is some people think that like that's what they come for. Other people don't come for it. Either way, it's a bonus. Like it's just it's a
agree.
great piece of there's so much content, and I think there's something there for everybody. And even if you don't make it to every session, because sometimes you get into that conversation out in the lobby and you don't make it into a session.
Yep,
it happens. I think at every convention, but there's just some awesome knowledge that gets dropped on you, and then from there are breakout sessions that happen each day. And the breakout sessions, I mean, honestly, like there's such a mix of things that get involved, like different categories of stuff. Like I think, what was it, in Minneapolis, there was like a storytelling, which was really cool because some of the dads got to get up and they had maybe written something on like a blog of theirs or just wrote something down in the moment. And so it was cool to hear those.
And great stories too.
Yeah.
And just so amazing that you have such creative people around you.
Yeah. Or you get guys who are like, hey, like, let me share with you my love of music and how like I, do that with kids, or my love of photography and the hobbies, how that is and what it's gotten me to do. And I mean, there's just so many different aspects to it. Cooking, we try to hit a lot of different things and bring in a lot of stuff. I think though, like the biggest one, of course, is the sit down for just mental health in itself and the conversations that take place there. I personally have not sat in on those for no other reason than it usually falls in a time like the past few times that I've actually been presenting myself on a growing a dad's group. So it's always like, oh yeah, the mental health thing. I'm not going to make it again this year. But that's okay. I feel like I get enough mental health conversations throughout the weeks and the stuff that I do. So it's pretty good to disconnect that way. But I think for you, like you've gone to those like before, right?
Every year.
Yeah.
Yep.
And without going into too much detail,
Sure.
because like we want to respect the guys who go there and stuff like that. But just to kind of give somebody an idea, because I'm sure like if you're listening to this and you're hearing, oh great, a men's mental health sit down, what's that going to be like? Kumbaya and like,
right. That was my first one in Raleigh. I was like, okay, I've never been to a support group. I don't know what I'm doing, but I need some help. I'm going to go see what's going on. It was nothing like I expected. And again, it is a closed session. Just so everybody understands, it's not open. I mean, it's open to the members, but they close the doors. Nobody comes in after that. You could leave if you need to, I assume. And it's led by both one of our members and by someone in the medical profession, and whether it's counselor or therapist or psychiatrist, someone that is in the local area. In Raleigh, for instance, they had a local it's been a long time. The local therapist, I think, that came in, and he was just there to offer a little bit of help. And it was everything from postpartum depression, which is really a big thing for both women and men, and to, just serious issues that other people might have. But it's really a support group is the easiest way to explain it. It's a big one because there's usually, I don't know, 30, 40 people in there. But it's an opportunity it's like we talked previously about finding someone that understands what you've been through. It's an opportunity to hear from other men that are dealing with things like you're dealing with, or even more difficult things, and gives you that opportunity to feel like you can talk about it.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times what we do as fathers and what we've been taught as men is we just kind of hold it in and we don't talk about it. And that's been a big thing for, generations, basically. It's changing now, being much more common. But for anyone to say, oh, well, I go to a therapist, or I'm depressed, or things like that, it's had such a big stigma. And what the mental health breakout, I think the best thing that it does is it gives you an opportunity to, again, be in a room of people that understand you, that get it. They understand what you're going through, and what, maybe not exactly, but what they've been through is very similar. And once someone else tells their story, you're able to talk.
Yeah.
That was my biggest thing. The first year I didn't talk at all. The second year I didn't want to talk at all. And I remember my wife said, just do it. You just need to just get it off your chest. And I stuck my hand up, and I got a pretty big hand. So I stuck it all the way up, and I held it up all through someone else talking. And I was behind them, so they couldn't see me. So I wasn't like pressuring them to talk faster or anything else. But I told myself I'm not putting my hand down until I say what I need to say. And it was probably the most important moment for me and in my mental health of my entire life. I mean, even up until this day, that moment of being able to tell what I'd gone through and was going through to other people, and in this case, other dads, was just monumental. You know, and I won't say that that's going to happen for everybody. And I'm not going to say that every, year we're going to have this, groundbreaking, amazing, oh, it's going to change your life type mental health breakout. But it's an opportunity to talk that we don't get anywhere else. And I think that's very valuable for all dads, all men, really.
Yeah. No, I think that it's really cool to see that within the convention itself, that there just are those opportunities to connect in that way. I know for me, I helped lead the conversation on miscarriage, and to sit in, or to like one, present about it a little bit, and then it was like a round table thing. So we were all sitting around. It was very interesting to hear a couple guys say, I actually just came in here to see if there would be any other guys that would actually show up and talk about this, because I haven't been able to talk about it, and I haven't been able to find any other guys that will talk about it. And so there were about 12 of us in there, and it was great. Like, got guys that shared the different stories, and then other guys who were like, wow, okay. Wow. Like, I don't feel alone in this. Like, this is like, here's what I've gone through. Here's what I'm dealing with. Here's, it's just like, it was like we kicked the door open and it just flooded and went wild. And so, yeah, I think that there's definitely some great opportunities there for that. So that, there's some deep moments. There's some lighthearted moments throughout the convention itself. And then, of course, like, lots of laughter.
Mm-hmm. Way more laughter than tears, for sure.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Way more laughter. I mean, my cheeks hurt at the end of the day.
Yeah. And then
it's great.
And then on top of it, you've got the evening stuff. So, and there's guys coming from all different walks of life that have so many different things. You've got guys who are into beer, guys who are into gaming, guys who are into photography, and they're all like, hey, like, here's my opportunity to do stuff that I typically either wouldn't be able to do, or two, would have a kid attached to me while I'm doing it.
Yeah, would be stuck with a kid with the
and so they get that opportunity to just be a guy, like to just be just be a human being without having other little human beings following around.
That's right. I don't have to cut up anybody's food. I don't have to feed them. I don't have to clean up after them.
If you want to come to a convention where you get to eat hot food, come to HomeDadCon.
Yep, and you get to eat it all. You don't have to share it with anybody.
And no one's going to ask you to eat their chicken nuggets for them.
The second year in Raleigh, I will tell you, I went through, and there was we're all on a break or whatever, and so the men's room is full, and so it's like 8 stalls. It's a big convention area. I walk up to each stall and I just knock on the door and I go, Dad?
Did you stick your fingers up underneath?
No, I didn't do that. No, I didn't want to get kicked out. But just knocked on the doors and went around, and the first guy, he was like, what? And then I went to the next one and did it, and everybody started laughing, and they were just busting out laughing. And it's that you don't get that anywhere else. You wouldn't understand that anywhere else.
You couldn't do that anywhere else.
But no, you really couldn't. You get in so much trouble. But you just goofy. I don't want to say goofy, maybe that's not a good word, but funny, lighthearted dad moments. Right. One guy said there was a big bowl of apples, and he said, do you think it'd be okay if I just took a bite out of every one of those apples and put them back?
That's what my toddler does.
That's what your toddler does all the time. What's going on? And it was an immediate thing. Every guy around there started laughing because no one else would understand.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no other place you could do that, other than a parenting, group. And it's just such a relief almost to be able to just be your goofy self and still,
right.
You're still a dad, of course, you're still a parent, but I'm also just a man. I'm just a dude, whatever. And I'm just hanging out, doing my thing, if it's the having a beer or If you Orlando was your first, did you get in on the soccer scarf exchange?
Yeah, I did actually with
right.
Marcel.
And
Yeah, so I
yeah,
actually have over on my wall that's not behind me, which will be eventually, is the Ajax Amsterdam scarf. So, and
nice,
I ended up getting him a later. I ended up getting him a long sleeve Cincinnati Bengals shirt.
cool. Yeah, I brought him Atlanta United because they're the best team in the nation. So gotta have
I'm
that.
FC Cincinnati, my man. That's
I don't know who are they. Do they do they have a team?
hey now. They're new. They're gonna do fine. Sorry.
Pull my headphones out. But again, that's the kind of thing too that you get at the convention a lot. There's a
Yeah.
lot of smack talking, and it's really funny to see, like me, some middle-aged fat dad in cargo shorts smack talking some guy about his football team, and it's really it you just don't get it anywhere else. It's such a relief to be able to just like, yeah, I can tell my bad jokes and everybody's going to groan and then laugh.
Yeah, definitely.
It's good.
Well, and I think too, like something to address is the fact that I know that a lot of guys that are listening to this are probably thinking, well, this is great. Like you get to go. That might not work for my family because financially, like we can't do that. Like it just doesn't work. Like I might be able to get the time off, but financially, like I can't make it. And I just want everybody to know that the organization has been really doing an amazing job in building up what's called the Brian Dixon Memorial Scholarship. It's a fund that helps at-home dads get to attend the HomeDadCon. And so you can put yourself in there, nominated, like what's going on, like why, how many times you've gone, or if it's your first time, like what kind of help you need. Do you need just us to cover your hotel expenses? Do you need us to cover your airline expenses? Do you need them both covered? Is that what it's going to take to get you to come? Like, and so if you go to athomedad.org, you'll be able to see in the support section there where it has a spot for the HomeDadCon scholarship. And I highly suggest anybody who's like questioning, like, is this even a possibility, to take a look at it, because it really is quite an amazing catalyst to get you this great opportunity to go. And we've got an amazing group of guys who are on the committee that oversee like who's getting the scholarships and how all that takes place. And we do a lot of different things marketing wise to get funds. One of the things that we do is we sell a t-shirt on Teespring that you can get actually on the At Home Dad Con, or athomedad.org website. That is a shirt that says dads don't babysit. It's called parenting. And it's a shirt design that one of our former presidents designed. And it was an idea that many people have had. No one had done anything with it. We put it on a shirt and it's sold really well. And we take a portion of those funds that we make off of it and we put it into the scholarship fund so that at-home dads have the opportunity to come to the convention. So just a plug there to make sure that it's available for anybody to come to. And we want to get guys who think that there's no way they're going to get to come because of what situation they're in financially, that we will make a way. We'll work with you to make it happen. So highly suggest you check that out. It's been great to see the guys who have gotten to come to it. Even for the virtual con, we had quite a few guys that were just like, I can't even feasibly do $50. Like that's how tough it is right now. And we're like, all right, no worries. We got you. You're covered. Get in here. Like, come check this out. And it was amazing. Like the connections that were made through that. So consider that, like even the bare bones, like, hey, like I just need $50 to cover this. Sign up, check, get in there so that we can see that and we can help you out. So that's that for for the scholarship side of things. So HomeDadCon, like I said, Friday and Saturday are the days that it goes on. Saturday, basically very similar to Friday, same kind of stuff, speakers, breakout sessions. We do a big group picture at the end, which is nice. You get to see everybody. And then really, like, it's funny, like some guys will take off when it's all said and done. It's very rare. But for the most part, most guys are hanging out and it's just let's go have a great time, like before we all take off in our own separate directions for the night or for the weekend. And so that's the other part that's really fun. Now, with that, for 2021, because 2020 screwed everything up, 2021 will be in Cincinnati, Ohio. I'm actually the convention chair for it. It's going to be held October 14th through the 16th at the Embassy Suites River Center, which is actually, it's kind of funny. Like, so here's a little geographic information for everybody listening. So Cincinnati, Northern Kentucky, split by the Ohio River. It's funny because the Embassy Suites actually says says Embassy Suites River Center, Cincinnati, even though it's in Northern Kentucky. That's their business name. So even Northern Kentucky sometimes relates themselves to Cincinnati in that fashion. But great hotel that's going to be there, and you can find information at HomeDadCon.org and also through Eventbrite as well. You can find ticket information on there for it as also. I believe currently tickets are going for just over $200. It'll probably bump up here pretty soon, so definitely look into that. But it's a great time. I mean, it's a lot of fun. I am looking forward to it because for me, it's in right here, and I pretty much got the entire week marked off because I've got guys who they're like, I missed out on 2020. I'm coming early. What are we going to do?
That's right. Get all the extra stuff in.
Yeah.
I'm going to need a photo shoot. I'm going to need a nature walk. We go kayaking, and I'm going to need a beer run. Okay. All in one day.
Well, and we're 90 minutes from the Bourbon Trail down in Kentucky. And so I've got guys who are really big into bourbon, and they're just like, hey, what are we going to do about this? And I actually have worked for a touring company for beer and bourbon and wine here in town. And so,
nice.
So yeah, I've got lots of information, but we'll get outside of that because I don't know if I'm going to hear it from the board members. We shouldn't be talking about that. So, but anyway, yeah. So lots of fun stuff to be had, and it's not all about drinking. Like, a photo walk is definitely something that takes place every year, and that's always a lot of fun.
Yeah, amazing.
And this year we've got this coming year in 2021, we've got some cool stuff in Cincinnati to definitely take pictures of because lots of cool murals. Lots of old German architecture and over the Rhine, and just lots of beautiful like river scenery with the skyline and everything there, because you've got like 3 different stadiums and bridges, and it's just lots of cool stuff. So there's a little bit of something for everybody, honestly. So I'm excited to have it here this year or this coming year, and just to see what's all going to play out, so who the speakers will be. That's something that's yet to come. But yeah, if you're thinking like, hey, like that sounds like something I want to check out, go to HomeDadCon.org and give it a look, and hopefully we'll see you there. Thanks for tuning in today and listening to the show. Danny and I will be back next time, and we don't know what the topic's going to be, but it's always going to be something related to stay-at-home dads or to the org itself. I believe maybe we'll be talking about actually some articles that actually involve some of our stay-at-home dad members from the National At-Home Dad Facebook close page. But until then, y'all have a great day, and we'll talk to you real soon. Thank you.